FPL is back for another year, and today I'm going to be showing you my Game Week 1 squad. But quickly before that, if you haven't joined my league, it is free to do so. The link is in the description. The code is on the screen. If you click that link, it will automatically join you to it. If you want to see all the details about how it works and the prizes involved, I've got a dedicated video for just that. Now, let's get into my squad. There are some incredibly expensive players in the pool this year, and so you've really got to work with your budget well. So I'm going for two goalkeepers that I think are a good 4.5 mil set of rotating players. Firstly, I'm going for Areola of West Ham. They have made some really good signings and they're going to be more solid at the back. Hopefully he can pick up some points without being too expensive. And next to him, I'm going for Dean Henderson. Crystal Palace looking a lot better under Glasner, and we basically have confirmation that he is going to be the number one after Sam Johnston has asked to leave. So for 9 mil, we've got two goalkeepers that should get some decent point returns this season that will rotate quite well. I plan on doing a weekly FPL video throughout the season, so if you want to see more, make sure you like it and subscribe if you want to see loads more football content. Let's move into the defence. And let's get the cheap guys out of the way first. We're starting off with Taylor Harwood-Bellis in defence, because he's a starting £4 million defender, and those are quite handy. I think with the bonus point system this year really benefiting players that are taking shots on target and things like that, having a stacked defence isn't going to matter as much, and you can afford to have cheaper players. And a Leicester boy does make my fantasy team, but basically as a throwaway, I'm putting in Wout Fast because he should be the most nailed-on defender for us. And whilst we're going to get battered in the majority of our games, he's there as a placeholder, pretty much. Up next at 4.5 mil, I'm going with Ezri Konsa, a very solid player last year. Throughout the entirety of the season for Aston Villa, also did okay in his cameo at the Euros. Villa looking as solid as ever, making some decent signings. I feel like this is a really good price point for Konsa. He doesn't offer loads of attacking returns, but a good amount of clean sheets. At 4.5 mil, you can't ask for more than that. Next in at 5.5 million, I'm going for Pedro Porro as one of my more premium defenders. I think Spurs are going to do really well this season. If you want to see how high I put them in the league, go and check out the Premier League predictions video. But I think he was a fantastic fullback last season, really fitting into Ange's system incredibly well, getting a lot of attacking returns. And surely Spurs are going to be that little bit more solid this season after spending a year adjusting to Ange's tactics. The good thing is that 5.5 mil, even if it doesn't work out that well, there is a lot of room to transfer him out for somebody else. And the exact same can be said about Saliba, who is my most premium defender at 6 million. There are other Arsenal defenders, Man City defenders, and more that I can transfer him out if he gets injured or if Arsenal start off very ropey. But they were unbelievable in defence last season, and Saliba a mainstay for the whole season. I imagine that's going to be the same this year. It should be guaranteed points, but if not, then we have the flexibility to change. Let's get into the midfield. And I'm starting things off with Amad Diallo. This was originally not going to be my 5 million midfielder. It was going to be Oscar Bob. However, he fractured his knee or leg, and so he's now going to be out for a couple of months. Amad Diallo has been playing a lot in pre-season, and Ten Hag has talked about how he thinks that he's going to be fitting into the system this year. So for 5 mil, we could have a breakout star that ends up going up a lot in price this season, just like someone like Cole Palmer last year. Next up, I have to have Christopher Nkunku. This guy is amazing. If he stays fit this season, he is guaranteed to get a lot of goal involvement, and at 6.5 mil seems like an absolute bargain. He could potentially even be playing up front at points in this season. So for 4 mil less than Cole Palmer, we could actually see him get similar, if not more, points this year. Obviously, Palmer does have the penalties over Nkunku, but for out-and-out goal involvements, I think it could be very close. And I think out of the 6.5 million midfielders, he provides the best value for money. For my next midfielder, I'm going for Diogo Jota, which may spoil who and who isn't in this team. But Jota at 7.5 mil seems like a very good valued player this year. Partially because there are chances that he plays on the left, but a very good chance that he also plays through the middle up front. He has been doing in pre-season, and we know how good Jota is in terms of point scoring in FPL and how good in general he is for Liverpool. The only question mark that you normally have over him is his fitness and injury record. If Jota starts the season like I'm hoping and expecting he will, you could very easily see this player go up to about 8 mil, which is going to be much harder for people to transition into him in their squads. Next up, I have Martin Ødegaard. I am a massive fan of Ødegaard. I absolutely love the guy. I think he's an incredible footballer. And at 8.5 mil compared to the 10 mil you're paying for Saka, it just allows me that little bit more money and freedom for the other players in my team. And my final midfielder is actually a double up of Man United. I'm going for Bruno Fernandes here. Again, 8.5 mil, but I think that he's going to be very good value because he is going to be so much further forward than he has been at times in the past. He's potentially even going to be playing like this false 9 role because of the injuries that Man United have. Penalty taker, of course, we know that he gets a lot of points from that. I think Man United look a little bit better, and if they're going to be more solid at the back, that means that they're going to have more chances going forward because they'll have more of the ball. And I just think that Bruno is a really, really solid pick here. It does mean that I'm missing out on Eze. It means I'm missing out on Gordon as well. But I'm not sure the Newcastle double idea of Gordon and someone else is that great. Eze, I feel like without Elise, it's too much of a risk at the start of the season for me to go for him. But because of the players that I have chosen, I can easily pivot to him if he starts the season on fire. Other notable absences, we are not going with Phil Foden, Salah or Palmer. As I said, Jota and Nkunku, I feel, are just better value for money for those positions. Salah, yes, is on penalties, but we don't know exactly how Liverpool are going to be lining up under Arne Slot and how the system is going to work in terms of Salah being involved as much in terms of goal output as he was under Klopp. And the same can be said for Chelsea. Cole Palmer is 4 million more than Nkunku. It's a lot of money in FPL. It's actually a whole defender's worth of money. So between these two, by dropping down, we've saved ourselves 9 mil. And Foden, I think it's just a little bit too early. Maybe a month or so into the season, he will find his way into my team. Maybe I'll try and transition out Bruno for him if things aren't working out for United. So now, we've got our 3 forwards. I'm starting off with Dominic Solanke. If he was still at Bournemouth, I don't think that there is a chance that he would have been in my team. But 7.5 mil starting for Spurs, being the main guy up front with Kulusevski or Johnson, Maddison and Son providing you all season, there's genuinely a chance that if he stays fit that Solanke gets 20 goals this year, as he very nearly did for Bournemouth last year. So this seems like great value, and as soon as we knew that that transfer was happening, he was instantly the guy that I changed my team around for to get him in this squad. Next to him, I'm going for the most owned player in FPL this year. Up front, that is Alexander Isak, coming in at 58% ownership. Crazy high, but the reason is, same with Solanke, great amount of goal potential in a solid team. I think Newcastle are going to be better this season than they were last year, and Isak still put up really good numbers last season. So hopefully he stays fit this year, because Alexander Isak is one of the most fun to watch and entertaining players in the Prem. I want to see as much of him as possible this season. So hopefully he's going to be scoring me a lot of points. And if your maths is good, or you've been keeping your eye on the budget at the top, then you'll know there's only one man going in this final position. The robot himself, Erling Haaland. People said he had a bad season last year. He still scored 27 goals and got 8 assists. But I think we're going to be looking at a season closer to his first one. Comfortably 30 plus goals this year. And the other main reason why I've gone with him rather than potentially Salah and Watkins is because it is so much easier to transfer Haaland out than it is to get him in if he starts the season on fire. If that 15 mil suddenly starts creeping up towards 15.5, how are you going to get him in if you don't already? So in comparison to the most owned players, Turner, I'm not going with. Raya, I just don't think it's worth it to spend that extra mil on a goalkeeper when you can get that value in the defence instead. In terms of the defenders, a lot of people are going for Trent and Gvardiol. I just think Gvardiol could potentially be switched to from Saliba if Man City look a lot more solid at the back. And Trent is just undefined in the Arne Slot system. So paying 7 mil for him seems excessive at the very beginning of the season. We talked about the midfielders as well. And then forwards, João Pedro, I see a lot of people going for a budget third forward so they can go much larger in the defence and midfield, going for someone like Salah, getting a Trent in there. But I just think with those bonus point changes and things like that, I'm going to load up on the forwards. I could have gone for Watkins. However, last season he got 19 goals and 18 assists. He massively over-exceeded his expected assists, so I think that's going to come down this year. Without Douglas Luiz behind him as well, maybe we're going to see a change in the way that he is getting his goal involvements this year. And he did stay fit for the entire season. These other forwards, like Isak and Haaland, you had little niggly injuries that happened throughout the year. Ollie Watkins played 37 games. So even if he misses a bit of the season, like gets a small injury that takes him out for a month, then suddenly you're going to see these returns dwindle. So I think that whilst he had a really, really high XG, you see this, 18 assists from an expected 4. I don't think that he'll keep up the value for money points that he had last season when he is now costing 9 million compared to the likes of Solanke and Isak. Now at the time of recording, there is actually still 1 day to go until the start of FPL. If any last minute injury news comes out or something like that, then maybe my team will be tinkered. But I have ummed and ahed over this so many times already. I think that I am set now. And if I did change anything, then it might be one 4 mil defender for another one, or maybe Ahmad for Rodgers or something like that. But I think that this is my team. So let me know in the comments, do you hate it? Do you love it? Do you think it's stupid to go so big for the front 3? I'm intrigued to know, but make sure you join the league, leave a like on the video, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye!